La danza de los tulumayos empieza en el año 1993.
The dance of the Tulumayos began in 1993, proposed and promoted by Mrs. Silvia Silva Zamora. Since then, Tingo María did not have choreographic proposals or dances. At present, we have one of the most outstanding manifestations, which is the party and bonfire of the pioneers. Nowadays, this dance is spread at provincial, national and international level. The dance has stages, where the first stage is the creation or framework of the bonfires. The second stage is the entrance or the process of the deity, where his goddess enters.
Tenemos la tercera y cuarta etapa.
We have the third and fourth stage of their daily life of the Tulumayos, where they dedicated themselves to the house and fishing. And we also have the great competitions that they carried out to be able to obtain or to be able to commit themselves with a partner, since it was difficult to obtain a partner in those times.
Actualmente la vestimenta cuenta con el bombonaje.
Currently, the clothing has a bombonaje, the traditional costume of our province. The writings do not narrate that the bombonaje has been the exclusive costume of the Tulumayos since, in the past, they used to walk naked.
¡Vamos a la fiesta!
El bombonaje, ¿por qué se pone?
Why is a bombonaje worn? Because in Tingo María, it is still a taboo that the students or suddenly the participants go out in an almost naked way. That is why the bombonaje is used, imitating the costumes of the Yagua tribe.
El bombonaje es una planta natural de nuestra provincia.
The bombonaje is a natural plant of our province that grows in the surroundings and is easily accessible. Many know it as a sogulia, that is to tie the traditional juanes that exist for the feast of San Juan. Part of the iconography of the Tulumayos was evolving every year. At the beginning, the iconography was only to throw flour. Then it was painted like claws, because they did not know a little of the iconography. Currently, we are investigating with researchers and V Duo. In the researchers, we have found not the iconography of the Tulumayos in the form of V. And if you can see, or we can observe in the dances, we will see that the dances are painted in the form of V, which means that they are meetings of rivers.
¡Vamos a la fiesta!
También en la danza podemos observar ciertos personajes que tiene la danza.
Also in the dance, we can observe certain characters that the dance has. We can observe that the cacique, the leader of the tribe, represented by the cacique Tulum. Likewise, we can observe the sorcerer or the character of the old man of the tribe. We also observe the monkey that represents their fauna, that they used to hunt all kinds of animals. We also see the goddess of fire, the respect they had, the fear of suddenness.
encuentra radicado en la ciudad bella, Tingo María.
Soi Biri is based in the beautiful city of Tingo María.
En los años 80 vinieron 8 mujeres en la ciudad de Bella Durmiente.
In the 1980s, 8 women came to the town of Sleeping Beauty to sell their crafts.
Entonces las 8 mujeres fueron conocidas y dieron estanes para que puedan vender sus artesanías.
Then the 8 women were known and given shelves so they could sell their handicrafts. The 8 women were still struggling to find a place to live, a place to settle down. It was there where they found Brisas Committee 12, where the Soi Biri native community was founded.
Nosotros tenemos una curaca que ella fundó.
We have a curaca that she founded. Her name is Mrs. Graciela Lopez Bizango. I am currently the head of the community. I am Mrs. Graciela's granddaughter.
Y Soi Biri significa la mujer bella y que pertenece justamente a ella.
Soi Biri means a beautiful woman and that belongs precisely to this sleeping beauty. Then for that reason, Soi Biri, it means very pretty women, very beautiful, and why at the most we are in front of Sleeping Beauty.
La comunidad Soi Biri tiene artesanías, tejemos, hay mamás.
The Soi Biri community has handicrafts. We weave. There are mothers who weave. We have necklaces, makuas, painted fabrics, embroidered fabrics, and I invite you to visit us. You will be welcome in the native community of Soi Biri, so that we can receive you and teach you our customs.
Mi nombre es Eric Valera Kumapa, soy de la comunidad nativa de San Francisco.
My name is Eric Valera Kumapa. I am from the native community of San Francisco of the Shipibo Konibo people.
En los años 80 llegan los Shipibos por primera vez a Tingo María, trayendo su arte y mostrando su cultura.
In the 80s, the Shipibos arrived for the first time in Tingo María, bringing their art and showing their culture. In the 90s, they settled for the first time in the Tingo María National Park. In the year 2000, they formed the first native community in the Huánuco region, on the banks of the Huállaga River in the Brisas del Huállaga sector, with the name of the Soi Biri native community. In 2006, the Huállaga River overflowed, forming the division of the Soi Biri community into 2 communities. A native community, Bonagma, that was established in 2007 by Sector Sharpener in Tingo María, and the other sector of the community group remained in the origin of the Soi Biri community and the same place where they settled for the first time.
Bueno, la importancia de la artesanía en el pueblo Shipibo.
Well, the importance of craftsmanship in the Shipibo people is from ancestral times, that worldview, that ancestral wisdom to be able to show the world that the native peoples live from their art. They take their art to the world. The great iconographies that we handle in our designs, they identifies us as a kushma.
Que nos identifica como la kushma que tengo, es un símbolo para abrir puertas.
Which I have is a symbol to open doors. This kushma is a key for us. Wherever we go with our typical costumes, we open doors and we enter it.
En el año 2015,
in 2015, I was in my community, and when I arrived to my community there were some interpretation houses, where there was a lot of history to tell, and I began to discover archaeology.
Ya trabajos realizados por mi bisabuelo Catalino Kumapa Agustín con el arqueólogo estadounidense.
It was already work done by my great-grandfather Catalino Kumapa Agustin with the American archaeologist Donald Ward Lathrop, who already had some collections of the Shipibo culture and the Tushikaino culture. He gave me that historical impact to be able to look for information about the origin of the native peoples that exist in Peru.
Pueblos originarios, entre ellos 51 están en la Amazonía peruana y 4 en los Andes del Perú.
In Peru, there are 54 native peoples. Among them, 51 are in the Peruvian Amazon and 4 in the Andes of Peru. The importance of the explorations and the archaeological vestige that our ancestors left us have many meanings, not only for the native peoples, but for all the general public and also for the entire scientific community. All the importance of knowing our history, to know our identity.
Donald Lathrop es un arqueólogo estadounidense que vino al Perú en 1940.
Donald Lathrop is an American archaeologist who came to Peru in 1940 directly to the Shipibo Konibo people of the native community San Francisco, and meets for the first time the Shipibo Curaca Catalino Kumapa Agustin, who had such a deep friendship that he shared unique experiences with him. Then Donald Lathrop returns to the postulates of Julio César Dello, the father of Peruvian archaeology, about the Amazonian origin of the Peruvian culture.
En el año 2007 me llega por primera vez el libro El Alto Amazonas.
In 2007, I first got the book of El Alto Amazonas, where I started reading to learn about the history of the sedentary peoples of the Peruvian Amazon. And I was very interested in the origins of the native peoples, especially the culture of the Pano family.
Y en ese contexto de la lectura llego sobre las cerámicas finas de la Cueva de las Lechuzas.
And in this context of reading, he came to the subject of the fine ceramics of the Cueva de las Luchasas that the American archaeologists had found in Tingo María. The first ceramic manufactures that began in the Amazon basin were from the Tushikaino culture and the Shipibo culture, where Donald Lathrop finds the fine ceramics of the Cuevas de las Luchasas that were manufactured near Huánuco in Cotoche, Huayrajica.
El Parque Nacional Tingo María tiene 4.478.80 hectáreas.
The Tingo María National Park has 4,478.80 hectares. It covers the entire mountain range of the Sleeping Beauty Hill. Within the national park is a tourist area, Cueva de las Luchasas. In 1964, the American scientist Donald Lathrop did field work where he found fine ceramics from the Cueva de las Luchasas, and he named the ceramics after himself.
Y para nosotros es muy importante conocer esa parte de la cultura ancestral, de la identidad de Tingo María.
Fine ceramics from the Cueva de las Luchasas, and for us it is very important to know this part of the ancestral culture of Tingo Maria's identity in order to know our history. So, people do not know very well about the history of Tingo María. They only know about its biodiversity, about its scenic beauty, which needs to be promoted and taught to the general public and also to the scientific community in order to study the importance of the ancestral culture of the Amazonian peoples, and in turn in the Upper Velada Valley.
Sana abano, no más sana abano.
Tita, na tu yang magiri me angkana makubute, no ba ka shonta ko me rong makaske.
Mum, I called you this morning to cure my daughter because she is already very young. You know how to heal so that my daughter can also be like you. You make beautiful designs, that's why I called you, even if you have things to do.
Shonta ko me akska bitin da kan ha ko pira me kana magu. Ya na ya magiri shama, me taish ko bul bi ati kan.
Well, daughter, thank you very much. I came because you called me to cure your daughter with medicinal plants, because that is our custom. I'm going to bring piri piri before the sun rises, so I can throw in your eyes. Let's just wait here, Soi Biri. I'm going to bring piri piri to cure you.
Nos encontramos este momento en la selva de nuestro querido Perú.
We are now in the jungle of our beloved Peru, exactly in the city of Tingo María, to which I belong, to the Shipibo Konibo people. I live here in Soi Biri, a part of Tingo María where we, the Shipibo Konibo indigenous people, have been living for years in this Tengalese land, which is located in our beloved Peru. Here is a piri piri. Let's harvest it for the design. Grab it. With this, we will cure it for the design. It must be harvested and put in the makawa. We have to start. First, before we start, we have to ask permission from Mother Nature, who is the owner of all this knowledge, so that she can teach us how to make designs. We have to take the piri piri to the girl before the sun goes down. Let's prepare for it. Let's go.
Hace poco hemos hecho una escena de cómo antiguamente nuestras madres nos curaban.
Recently we have made a scene of how our mothers used to cure us, both men and women, in making what are the designs, so that these customs are not lost. As you have been able to observe the scenes is the mother, the daughter. They used to do that to a girl. There is a very important point where it shows us that before the girl gives her first menstruation. Why? So that the diet is more welcoming.
También nosotros lo hacemos esto, ¿para qué? Para que en nuestro pueblo...
Bring the blanket, daughter. We also do this so that in our Shipibo Konibo people, nowadays, we are losing this custom. This tradition that we have, and we want that in Soi Biri, in Tingo María, there continue to be this type of thing in the Shipibo people. For example, now in these times we, the young people, are very focused on this, so that it is not lost for a new generation that is behind us, so that they continue cultivating these traditions, these ancestral cultures that we have. And that was a scene that they have been able to observe. They have poured in his eye a drop of each one, and you can't exaggerate either. Then comes the diets, as the mothers have been able to mention.
Al momento cuando le echan a la niña, el llamado piripiri es uno de los plantas medicinales tradicional.
At the moment when the girl is given the so-called piri piri, it is one of the traditional medicinal plants, ancestral of the Shipibo people, in which we still conserve it. For what? For a future well-being, and it is being lost in some parts of our beloved Peru. Also, at the moment when they pour the piri piri in the girl's eyes, the girl will see many things, mostly that the designs are. There will be the design patterns that we have, the 4 design patterns, and the girl will adapt them in her dream. Now the child wakes up. As you have been able to observe, when she wakes up, she will already have in her mind, in her memory, that she already has the design patterns. There comes the practice of the child, quite practical, constant, and she has to be until the design of the 4 designs. that she can make comes out beautifully, and from there she will spend the time exploring more and the creations of her design with drawings and everything that she can create. You are waking up now, Soi Biri. I have brought you this blanket that I have started to design. It's for you, so that you can try and learn how to design. This blanket is going to be for you to design. Here you will embroider your design. You can start from this part below. Try the blanket here.
Hasta en el mismo comunidad de Shipibos ya no lo están practicando.
Currently, it is being lost in many communities. Even in the Shipibo community itself, they are no longer practicing it as they did before. But now we young people are taking it up again to reinforce this type of thing so that it will not be lost in the future, because this is an ancestral tradition of the Shipibo people and it cannot end.
Uno de los diseños
Already cured. Now before retiring, I just need to see if it is already designed. Let's see if your daughter brings to observe if you have already learned to do design. One of the design patterns that we have in the Shipibo people is a mayaki. Why mayaki is formally, we were nomads here in the Ucayali, and the Shipibo people went from place to place. From place to place, they use the Ucayali river quite a lot.
Es por eso que el diseño lo llaman mayakine, porque fuimos siguiendo.
As we can see, the river goes like this. It is not a straight river, it just goes like this. And that was the way of the Shipibo people that we have been. That is why the design is called mayaki, because they were following, looking for the fish, the poachers, consuming. As you can see, this is one of those mayaki. Here is what I'm telling you. The little borders that you can see, all this here means the path of the Shipibo people. Our ancestors have travelled, and that is why we value all these kinds of things. Our beloved Shipibo people, we have and preserve until now our designs.
Hace 8 años atrás fue que el Ministerio de Cultura
8 years ago, the Ministry of Culture recognized this as part of the cultural heritage, as well as the Lako of the Shipibo people. That is why for us this is very valuable. They copy us, but they will never match us, the Shipibo people. The same with our clothes, they imitate them, but they never make them the same. There is also a point, the design in the old days, our mothers did not have the education, our education. They did not receive in classroom, but they knew exactly how the point was going to arrive with the other point of the design. That was the most important thing with the hands, the fingers that they made was usually enough, because they had already applied the piri-piri in their eyes, and they were cured. They did not need to teach the mathematics for the calculations, nothing. Simply to the sight by hand was necessary. That is why for us the piri-piri is very important. If at some point you want to learn, place us in the Shipibo village and tell us that you would like your daughters to learn about the Shipibo design. Welcome. We will proudly share our ancestral knowledge that we have to this day.